What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Skews Day to you. This particular one is October 7th, which just occurred to me. But, it just happens to be that day. It's October 7th, 2025, as you guys are watching this. We're recording this, though, from 10/6, Monday, October 6th at 1:30 p.m. On the left coast, it is Weekly Skews. I'm Trey. That's Mark. What's up, Mark?
That man, I'm a little flustered. I just had a semi-accosting while I was walking my dog. Mm-hmm. Heading around a corner, this guy zooms around a corner, dude with a ponytail on a skateboard, being pulled by a large dog.
Ah, man,
my
arch nemesis right there.
My dogs don't like skateboarders. I don't know if you're aware of that, but so they don't like something about the noise or something. So she barks at the skateboarder, and the guy goes, "Control your dog," as if she. And I was like, "Wait, what?" I have earbuds in, and he's like gone to flash on his Austin rickshaw setup.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is
rickshaw?
I don't know what to call it, but it's like you're being pulled by you got a sled dog, a fucking skateboard, the ponytail is just like chef's kiss, man. I don't know
it sets it off, yeah, for sure. That or a man bun would have also been acceptable, but yeah, ponytails.
Yeah,
it's the classic.
And he really needed a Fu Manchu to complete the whole thing, but he had most of it there.
Did you get anything by the time you processed it? He had zoomed on by along his merry way, so there was no more to it. You didn't yell after him or nothing.
No, I mean, I was like, I don't know, man. You have these interactions where it's like I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what's going through his head. Maybe he's having a bad day. I'm choosing not to have a bad day, so he can go on about whatever he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just very weird.
The inverse of that I used to tell on stage for a little while there, which is a true story, was I bumped into a guy. I was taking my trash bins out in my old house, and my Jeep was blocked. I was walking down the driveway beside my Jeep, and it was blocking the other end of the sidewalk. So when I got to the end of it, I bumped into a dude who was walking. We didn't have a skateboard. He was walking a big dog. It was like a Great Dane, literally. Massive dog. And I didn't know they were there. They didn't know I were there. I was there. I guess everybody had earbuds in or whatever. Well, I bump into him inside my Jeep, and that dog just starts losing its shit. Barking very aggressive, just freaks out immediately. And the dude, while holding him back or whatever, as I cower in fear, the guy starts yelling at me, whoa, you startled him, and I was like, oh, did I? My bad. Did I upset the baby? That's my fault. Excuse me. Sorry for, not getting your permission before walking down my own fucking driveway. But yeah, it was just immediately my fault that I almost got mauled to death by Scooby Don't. But anyway.
Yeah, you'll have those situations. One time, my neighbor's dog got it didn't get hurt real bad or anything, but they were waiting in the elevator and the doors open and the dog leaped out and bit her dog, and by a much bigger,
bitch.
by a much bigger dog, and the person with the bigger dog was like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Right.
All that happened, I'm not saying it's anybody's fault whatsoever, but all that happened was elevator doors open and dogs were surprised to see another dog.
Right.
It was so now I guess when you wait for the elevator, wait another step back or something. But I don't know. Before we get to the show, I want to talk about the government shutdown and some further ICE hijinks if we get there. But Indianapolis over the weekend.
Nothing of note happened in Indianapolis this weekend that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of anything sports related in particular having happened in Indianapolis this weekend.
Yeah. What Trey's trying to avoid is the Raiders got their fucking shit kicked in by the Colts.
Destroyed by the Colts, who I hate already, the Colts. But anyway, yeah, they got wrecked by them. But one of the commentators for that game was supposed to be former USC and New York Jets quarterback Mark Sanchez. So he went to Indianapolis to call that game a little bit, late last week. And then...
Unfortunately, he never made it to the game and was presumably fired, I assume, because the first version of the story is Mark Sanchez has been stabbed.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez hospitalized after being stabbed in Indianapolis. So it makes it sound like he got mugged or something like that at first, but then turns out there was more to the story, evidently.
The story changed a few different times over the course of Saturday and Sunday. At first, it was a food delivery driver, but that wasn't really right. It's a guy who's those services that collect oil from restaurants, I guess.
Yep.
It was like his truck's really loud. The guy's hard of hearing, so Mark Sanchez was yelling about something in an alleyway. When the guy leaned in, Sanchez took his disrespectful and beat the ever living fuck out of this guy, who then stabbed him in self-defense. So then Mark Sanchez woke up hungover in the hospital, handcuffed to a bed with a gaping chest wound under arrest, which is probably the worst way to wake up. Waking up dead's like distant second place to this, I think.
Yeah, they might be second behind only the opening of 28 Days Later, the way Cillian Murphy wakes up, which is alone in a hospital bed in the midst of a literal zombie apocalypse. But, being stabbed in Indiana is easily just as bad. But, so if he attacked this dude first of all, it's wild because if you're a football fan or whatever, Mark Sanchez, again, he played at USC. He's got $1 million smile. He's
All-American, Boy Scout.
Like right. That, he seemed so not like that at all. He seemed real chill. He used to eat hot dogs on the sidelines and shit. He was not super aggro at all. So that's weird. But also, as far as the guy stabbing him, and I don't know that anybody's really going after that dude. But also, Mark Sanchez, like any NFL player, I don't know his exact measurements, but that's a big fucking dude. So if you're a truck driver, in Indianapolis, and all of a sudden you've got a elite level muscle bound athlete just teeing off on your ass, you gotta do whatever you got to do to survive that situation. So,
but as far as the politics around it go, it was pretty interesting because when Mark Sanchez was the victim for the first 12, 24 hours or whatever of this, being an All-American football guy, who's the kind of guy you'd want your daughter to date, was his whole brand or whatever. Right. Whose most famous football moment was, of course, running into his own center's ass and fumbling the ball because he's a Jet.
Mm-hmm. But that's a Jet. It's more of a Jets thing, really, than a Mark Sanchez specific thing.
So
he couldn't help it.
When he was the victim, he was basically white-coated, even though his name's Sanchez.
Yeah, right.
And then when he became the perpetrator, he went back to being Mexican so fucking quick, your head fucking spun. So here's how the governor reacted to this, of course, because it happened in the city of Indianapolis. Now, this whole stupid political moment we're in where cities are all evil hellscapes.
Right.
And no crime at all happens.
Yeah. So Indiana's a red state, but Indianapolis, I'm assuming, is a blue city ran by Democrats or something or whatever. That's the narrative. So it's crime ridden. And, dangerous. I was just there, by the way. I would say it's one of the nicest, downtown areas that I've been to of any major city in this country. In terms of, it ain't like fucking taxi driver shit at all. It's the exact opposite. It's all malls and Dick's Last Resort and stuff, which is, not great, but it's in good shape, though.
There's a reason shows like The Wire are set in Baltimore or in Camden, New Jersey, and not Indianapolis. I know what you're saying. So, the governor, his name is Mike Braun. He tweeted, I've been clear. City leaders must do their jobs and hold criminals accountable. When Indianapolis headlines national news for a lack of public safety, it hurts our city and our state. Hoosiers deserve better. Praying for a full recovery for Mark Sanchez. He deleted that. The lieutenant governor, a guy named Micah Beckwith, unacceptable. This is happening in our capital city, right here in Indiana. Is sliding into lawlessness because local leaders refuse to prosecute criminals and protect citizens. Yada yada. They're acting like Antifa runs the district attorney's office in fucking Indianapolis.
Right.
Micah Beckwith deleted his tweet, of course, when he looked stupid. The mayor of Indianapolis is a guy named Joe Hogsett, who is a Democrat. That's his party affiliation. He's also a former tough on crime prosecutor who's got his master's degree from a fucking seminary. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how we get politicians to come back to reality because they all keep watching too much Fox News. But this is absolutely fucking insane. And a quick recovery wish to the guy that Mark Sanchez beat the shit up and stabbed him. And also best of luck to Mark Sanchez getting his fucking life together because he apparently has problems we didn't know about.
Yeah, no shit. All right, well, this is a weekly Skews. Producer Matt's back there doing his thing secretly in the shadows where he likes to operate. But before we continue, I have...
It's like Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I have my weekly announcements to make for y'all. First, if you'd like to see me do stand-up comedy live and in person, go to TreyCrowder.com and check out my upcoming tour dates. I just had nine dates in the past 11 days or something across the states of Ohio and Virginia. So thanks to everybody who came out for those. Those were very, very good little runs. And then next up we got Milwaukee, Madison, Dallas, Largo, and Los Angeles. That was recently added, by the way. So if you're out here in LA, please come to that. There's going to be super awesome guest comics on that show as well. Oklahoma City, me, Corey, and Drew together once again in Nashville at the end of the year, right before Christmas at Zany's, like we are every year, and then on from there in 2026. Plenty of other dates already up there. all at TreyCrowder.com, and we're adding more every day. You can also find a link to my most recent special, Trash Daddy, which you should watch. Another thing you should check out if you would like a little palate cleanser is producer Matt's audio exclusive project called Good Skews. Good people doing good things. Try to lighten the mood a little bit over there on the audio part. So the podcast feed for this show is where Matt posts that and where you can find it. And finally, if you enjoy this program and want to show your support and get a little more of it in your life, you can do so by signing up on Patreon. Go to weeklyskews.com/more. Or go on Patreon and search for my name. Either way works. $5 a month gets you access to 2 full-length bonus episodes. Just same format as this show, except every now and then over there we do Q&As as well. Skew&As we call them. So it's fun. If you want more, of this outfit, then that's how you get it. And we would appreciate you considering it. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it, Matt. What do you say? Daily Dumbass. Hit me with that graphic, buddy. Today's DD, Ted Cruz, for shutting the government down after finding the one civil rights cause he can get behind.
I'll come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles.
The way the inflection in his voice changes right at the very end of that, where it's like you can tell it like just hits him right at the end of saying it, like what he said, is very funny. It's like something out of The Office or Veep or one of those shows or something.
Bro, if I'm a Democratic comms person and I can't cut together a good fucking attack ad or them doing Epstein cover-up stuff with that as a button to the ad, then you quit and go do something else, man. I don't know what to fucking tell these people. So I wanted to talk about, I think I mentioned recently that one of the things overhanging the shutdown is that as soon as they come back, they swear in the 200 Democratic lady who won a special election, who will be the 218th vote to release the Epstein files. So they might. We might not have a federal government anymore. But so let's talk about the shutdown and a roundup of the deep silliness going on, because I have no idea how they get out of this.
Okay.
Because they shut down over nonsense, and all the demands are nonsense, which we'll get to.
Yeah, I knew that. I mean, I was aware. So, like I said, I was just in Virginia, I was in Richmond, and then Alexandria. And Alexandria is, basically a suburb of D.C. So, like, there was a ton of both military and just federal government people at my shows all weekend who are currently, they were, furloughed right now. So they were talking about, so I mean, I used to work at the DOE, so I've had friends texting me too. So I know that like it has happened and they're in the midst of it, but I haven't really, you're about to educate me, which I know is unusual for me. I'm normally very on top of it, but I don't even really know what this go around was over. I know that it feels like it happens every time the goddamn budget comes up, but I don't know the specifics of this one.
Well, yeah, well, first I want to talk about all the fun everyone's having with it, because, I mean, the federal employees, they're not getting paid, and some of them still have to go to work if they're not getting paid, but they'll get the back pay when the government opens back up. It's usually how it works.
Yeah.
Right? So Thomas Massey posted this tweet, a picture of a blue sky, and fucking, I guess he's back home in Kentucky, and says, the best thing about government shutdowns, no chemtrails. Which raises a lot of interesting questions. But I think Massey's joking around, but the people in his mentions absolutely were not. But like, people seem to really think this is true. So like, you'd think the chemtrails guys would be essential employees,
right? Yes, you would. Also, well, I don't know. I was gonna say, like, if you're a chemtrail person, that don't like, it doesn't matter what administration's in charge. If you're a chemtrail person, you believe that the deep state is doing chemtrails all the time, no matter who the president is. Although, or even when Trump's the president, Joe Biden still controls the deep state from his.
You get all varieties of it, but there are people who think they've stopped seeing chemtrails since Trump was reelected.
Okay,
but not during his first administration. So I don't know. But anyway, like, I just like the idea that, like, the chemtrails guys got furloughed. Maybe they're at the show. It's like Colonel Deep State and Dr. Strangelove. They get 2 weeks furlough, paid vacation. So congrats to them.
It's not a bad sitcom idea. Or, like a workplace sitcom is like workplace comedy, government employees, but it's the chemtrails guys, the guys at the deep state, the office, but for the deep state or whatever.
I think, wasn't there a Netflix cartoon? It was that? It was
actually,
like a workplace
sitcom. I think maybe you're right. I think maybe you're right about that. Yeah. Honestly, it's too good of an idea to not exist, Mark.
So as far as some more fun with who's essential, so there's this stunt fucking art installation in the National Mall where somebody keeps putting up a statue of Trump and Epstein, like, holding hands and being best friends.
Right.
And
seen that.
the park employees keep taking it down. but they put it back up this last time, and nobody took it down. So apparently they have furloughed the people who take down the fucking pedophile statue.
Right.
So,
which I would argue they should have seen coming, or at least anticipated. Although I don't know if that really factored into their decision making. I'm sure if something like that happens, the people that would be pissed off by it, they just expect it to go away without really thinking through the logistics of the actual person who has to go and move the pedophile statue every day.
Yeah, I mean, this honestly, the statue of Trump and Epstein might be the only thing that gets the government shutdown ended. Which brings us back to play it again, Sam. If you got this video clip.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
It's like just start playing that video on every episode every week.
Yeah,
like, you need to start. You need to make that your like Paul Rudd would go on Conan and to promote a movie or whatever, and he'd be like, "All right, this is a clip from Ant-Man or whatever," but it was always a clip from that insane '80s movie Mac and Me or whatever that he wasn't even in, of a kid in a wheelchair flying off a cliff's edge or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good bit.
Yeah, it's a great bit. You should do that with that Ted Cruz clip there.
So these shutdowns, usually there are because of performative demands by the party out of power that are completely unmet, and then government just goes back to work after they lose a public opinion fight. That's usually like what the Republicans demanding an end to Obamacare so they can fund their own operations of the government, right? Mm-hmm. This one, the other dynamic is like the party out of power asks for a small token sort of gesture to get to like signal that they actually accomplished something, and then everybody comes together. It's it's not much, and that's basically what the Democrats are doing. They're acting like politics is normal. They're asking for a little bit more healthcare funding, right? But the subtext here is everyone's just trying to look busy for their bases, but the surface level text is this is about healthcare. So let's talk about healthcare and what they actually want. Okay, let's watch this clip from Chuck Schumer if you want to see the general vibe of the Democratic opposition right now, which is always on point and super aggressive and making a difference.
New data came out today from AFF, and that is not Kentucky Fried French fries. AFF, it could be Kentucky French fries. Yeah, I know.
Cool. Glad they're having fun.
Yeah, what a fun group. Just want to hang out with them.
He's trying to throw out some data from the Kaiser Family Foundation, which says that it basically 78% of people of Americans support extending the ACA credits, which is true. And you want to break that down. If you break it down per party or whatever, party identification, 92% of Democrats support it, 82% of independents, 59% of Republicans, and even 57% of people who self-identify as MAGA are for extending these ACA subsidies. What we're talking about here is 24 million Americans, and my wife and I are among them, buy their insurance on the Obamacare exchanges, a la carte, right? We got a notice from our insurer that says that if these extensions don't go, if the subsidies don't go back into place, our insurance rates are going to go up. They didn't even bother putting a number to it. Just up with 5 U's and 7 P's, all right? So it would go from being basically the monthly price of a mortgage to the monthly price of 3 times of a mortgage.
Yeah, man. I know. Yeah. I haven't even looked at mine, but it should be the same thing because I'm also on that same type of deal, because I'm self-employed or whatever, and so I just and yeah, it ain't cheap right now. I've got a whole family of 4, so it's pretty fucking expensive as is. But I'm sure it's about to get so much worse, especially since we're Californians. I feel like if they can find any way to fuck us harder somehow, then they'll do it.
And I'm not sure why this is in place, but most Americans who buy their health insurance this way are in red states or whatever. So it will disproportionately affect Republican constituents. Now, what the Democrats are demanding is basically put things back the way they were before the OBBA, right? The One Big Beautiful Bill or whatever they ended up calling it. It's a nice gesture to a lot of us who don't want to have to forego having health insurance or eating food or whatever. It is bad politics because it's a temporary extension. The Republicans will make permanent if they hold on to Congress next session. So essentially, the bargain Democrats are trying to strike is a temporary reprieve in pain for America in lieu of making that pain permanent and saving Republicans from political fallout from a horrific decision they made that I'm not sure if they did on purpose. They fucked up, right? So that's the policy hanging over all this, and a little bit of the politics. As far as the actual demands, because they need 60 votes in the Senate, theoretically. They don't actually, but in order to not nuke the filibuster, they need 60 votes. The background for this is Republicans are behaving like they don't need 60 votes for anything all the time anyway. Trump is just spending money however he wants to spend it, regardless of what Congress says at all. So like right now, Hill Republicans are estimating that Trump will need to send as much as $50 billion to farmers hit by his tariffs. They're basically moving money around to make this happen with no authorization from Congress. To Treasury's trying to figure out a way to use tariff revenue for it, to bypass Congress completely to do all this. While at the same time they're demanding a Democratic votes to pass a continuing resolution to get money they're not going to spend the way the continuing resolution says it's going to be spent anyway, right? So, I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase this where it makes sense because it fucking doesn't.
Right.
So Trump wants to both cut spending without Democratic agreement and add spending without Democratic agreement, and then wonder why Democrats won't agree to it.
Right.
Right? But they could also just nuke the filibuster like they just did for 5 other purposes and just pass it with just Republican votes. They don't need it, Republican votes. So, the Republican position of the shutdown is we can always unilaterally change the budget Congress passes. But Dems must sign off on the budget to pass it. If they don't pass it, we will unilaterally change the budget, which you already said we're going to do anyway, and we will not press the majority party can pass the budget button, which is doing away with the filibuster.
So because the Republicans have the numbers right now, they could permanently get rid of the filibuster forever at any time, but they don't want to do that. Like if they did
get rid of
press
it,
that button or whatever, that would then that would be how it works going forward, no matter who was in power.
It's a Senate rule. They could remove it with this one vote, then put it back in place immediately.
Right, yeah.
That's basically what they do in other stuff. They just don't want to. But they won't even say why they don't want to.
Okay.
Basically, what they want to do is they want basically the dynamic of this negotiation is say you're at a deli haggling over the price of a sandwich, and the Democrats are like, I would like to purchase a turkey sandwich, and they go, 1 turkey sandwich coming up. You watch them take a shit in the middle of the sandwich and hand it to you. Mm-hmm. And you have to not just eat it, but pay for it, and also pretend that it's not shit. That's the whole thing. They don't need their votes. They want their votes. They don't need them, and they're fucking fighting. It's so goddamn stupid. There's also the part of this, we talked about this in a recent show, where they passed the House because they promised the Freedom Caucus that the continuing resolution wasn't real, that it's a lie. They announced that. That's how the Freedom Caucus guys like Thomas Massey justified their votes. It's like, we voted for something that's fake. Don't worry about it. And now they want Democratic votes for the fake. God damn it. So, hanging over all this, there's something called rescission packages where, you need 60 votes to pass the budget, right? But you only need 50 votes to claw the spending back, and it's in separate deals. That doesn't need to meet the filibuster. So, if a department doesn't spend all the money that's allocated to it, you can take it back at the end of the year. It's supposed to be like a easy thing to get done because obviously no one needed the money.
Right.
Republicans have been using that to claw back money that they agreed to spend.
Yeah,
so
on things that help people or whatever.
Yeah. So why would you? But so everything runs on handshake deals on planet Earth for the most part. So in general, in order to supply your 60 vote for something, the other party's promising not to go undo it with 50 votes unless something changes, or you're supposed to be operating in good faith. But they're straightforwardly operating in bad faith right now. They're saying we're going to pass it with 60, then do a rescissions vote with 50. So why would you agree to the 60?
Right. Yeah. Right. That's what I was about to say. If everybody knows that, it's all what I don't know, what options do the Democrats even actually have? They
can't do it.
They can't do anything about it. Either way, right? Is what you're saying.
Right.
But they can capitulate or work with them for whatever reason they decide. But they're not they're eating a shit sandwich by doing that. They're not. That doesn't benefit them at all in the long run. So why do it?
Yeah. As stupid as it is, the usual process for this kind of thing is because ostensibly we live in a democracy, is the government shuts down, everybody makes their cases for why they're correct, and it's the other side's fault. Then they all look at polling data, and that's like a referendum, right? Mm-hmm. They come back and, okay, we won, we lost, you won, here's your votes, right? But that doesn't seem to be, nobody seems to care about that right now because they've already lost the polling fight by a mile. It's not even remotely close because Republicans are the party that wants to shut down the government. That's just a branding thing that's baked in. It's like how Democrats can't not be the party of civil rights no matter how many trans people they throw under the bus. You don't succeed in convincing anybody because that's just part of your identity. It's what's baked into it, right? So Democrats made this about healthcare because they want to make every fight about healthcare because because the public sides with them on that issue. It's one issue they got, right? The yin to that yang is Republicans want to make this fight about immigration because that's the one thing they think is their safe ground to fight on, which how you result in, like, here's a video Ted Cruz put out of a bunch of Senate Democrats with, like, photoshopped or AI, like, pictures of sombreros on their heads and mustaches on there. Yeah. Yeah,
dude. So yeah, Matt's not playing. He muted it so we don't get stricken on YouTube or whatever. But I'm the Macarena plays throughout this whole montage that you're seeing here. Yeah.
Yes.
Hilarious.
And this is happening.
Look at that. Brilliant. High art right there, man.
He's doing this. It's becoming me because Trump put out an AI video of, like, Chuck Schumer giving this speech where he talks about everybody hates us because we're pieces of shit, nobody likes us, yada, yada, yada. While Hakeem Jeffries is standing beside him in a sombrero and a mustache. So they're trying to make it into a meme.
I think it's so fucking stupid. My God, dude, this is the Senate. Like, fucking, what is happening? It looks like something like one fraternity would put out about a rival fraternity during Greek week or something to, like, roast them or some shit like that over having a Cinco de Mayo party or whatever the fuck.
It's incredibly juvenile and stupid, and I say that as somebody who writes dick jokes for a fucking career. Okay,
Yeah.
like I chose to do this, you chose to do that. You're supposed to be a serious person,
Right? Yeah.
So if you. Now, Hakeem Jeffries, who's important to point out here, is black and not Mexican or Hispanic in any way, shape, or form, put a statement calling the video racist. Now, it's a lot of things. I'm not sure putting a black guy on a sombrero is racist, but that's not up to me to decide. But it is insanely stupid. I just don't think try to fight make every fight about racism is particularly the way to go here, because being this silly about it, federal employees aren't getting paid. People aren't getting services they pay taxes for. A bunch of people's health insurance is about to be lost or become way more expensive. This is all deadly serious shit. Not to mention the real reason this fight is happening is because the country's being torn apart by a fucking fascist goon squad who's kidnapping people off the fucking street.
Right. So no one's really going to give a fuck, I don't think, about the racially insensitive part of them putting y'all in sombreros with a mustache or whatever. Like you said, it's more about the, like, this is what they're doing while the country falls apart is what you should be offended by, not,
The video of people putting white people in sombreros is not like Ruben Gallego wasn't there. He could probably call it racist, right? But it's not even the top 10 most racist things happening to actual Mexican people right now.
No, not even close.
So yeah, they want to make this about illegal immigration all the time. The way they're doing this is because the Republican argument is that there are two kind of healthcare benefits that end up going to immigrants who have legal status or are undocumented. The first is emergency room care that's given to patients regardless of the law requires, a law passed by Ronald fucking Reagan, requires emergency rooms to stabilize people and treat them before turning them away or checking their insurance or anything else.
Of course. Yeah, I know. This is what always, anytime it comes up, so many of their arguments about healthcare come down to, like, eventually you, if you support healthcare, being like, okay, so we just allow people to die, uninsured people or poor people or homeless people show up to a hospital, like they should just be left to bleed out in front of everybody there or die or whatever. I find usually in real life when you're talking to, they'll be like, no, of course not. Nobody's saying that. And it's like, well, I don't get how else you think it's going to work. Cause like that kind of is what you're saying, like that's just where it has to go. Especially because
you don't just want to allow hospitals to turn people away. You want them turned away.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to say that's how it always was for me years ago when the argument was just about health care. Like I'm talking about during the Obamacare era or whatever. But like, it pains me to say, I bet if you framed it specifically as illegal immigrants, I bet a lot of them probably would just, they wouldn't say the words, yeah, let them die. Some of them might, but they would be like, hey, look. But, look, they made their bed. That's them laying in it, like that type of thing. Like, I don't even think that they would pretend to care if that became official policy. But doctors sign make an oath, right, very famously, to try to do doctor shit when somebody needs it. You know,
First do no harm, yeah.
Yeah, regardless of anything. So, you know, there's a lot of factors at play there.
Right, but also I wanted to mention here that like if you like basically if you remove the requirement that they treat people without checking for insurance or any other status, you basically the hospital to save money is going to require their employees do check, which means that anyone who doesn't have their wallet on them when they get hit by a car, like I don't take my wallet while I walk my dog, is not going to get treated because you can't. Like, it's not because they don't know your citizenship. They don't know your insurance. They don't know anything. So, like, the fucking private equity ghouls that own these hospitals are going to require them to let you die, no matter where you're born.
Right.
I need like that's the regime where they're asking to be to operate on just to fuck illegal immigrants.
That's how all that small government, ultra capitalism, fucking everything should be private shit ends up going with the idea of like private fire departments, and they show up and you got to prove that you paid your premium before they'll put your house fire out. Just let it burn to the ground. If you're not like if you missed a payment by a couple of days or whatever, the idea of that is the type of shit that should freak anybody out. You would think, regardless of your what your economic philosophy otherwise is. Some of that shit is just should not ever be profit motivated in any sane society. But
so that's the first part. They're talking about healthcare spending going to illegal or undocumented immigrants. The second part is Affordable Care Act benefits, like that I buy, that people with legal status, whether it be a temporary or green card or whatever, can buy. So we're talking about people buying insurance the same way I buy insurance, the same way you buy food and I buy food. Mm-hmm. So they did some part of that coverage is subsidized, so you won't be able to buy that. So like the logic here is immigrants cannot be provided health care nor purchase it.
Right.
All right. So there's also the part of the logic puzzle in here is like they didn't fully cut this when they passed the one big beautiful bill. They just cut some of it. So by their own logic, their own budget provides health care benefits to illegal immigrants. The framework here is like if you put this in in numbers, the Democrats want to provide health care to illegal immigrants by giving them $8. I want to deny health care to illegal immigrants by only giving them $6. Mm-hmm. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, right. I know, but is it just about, I don't know, optics and messaging and all that for them? I mean, that way they can frame it to their base as, they want to give it, even more of your hard-earned money to illegal immigrants, and we're trying to stop it. And they just don't. Right. They omit the part about how they are already giving it to them anyway, a smaller amount.
They've been making this case like they've already lost this fight. Nobody believes it because it's so incredibly stupid. Because like Americans are often dumb children who are easily fooled by surface level news coverage. But they're also adults have to go out in the world and walk around and buy stuff and talk to people, right? They exist in both planes at the same time. But this is neither. I saw an interview where a news reporter is trying to drill down with Elizabeth Warren about this, and she called it a lie, which is not quite a lie. It's neither true nor a lie. It's a third thing that's just fucking stupid. Because it's sort of true that it does provide healthcare funding for illegal immigrants in the same way that anything that's universal is provided for illegal immigrants. By the same logic, because there's no ID checkpoints on interstate on-ramps, you could say when people get on I-95 in Florida, you could say that Florida is providing free highway access to illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, don't give them any ideas, Mark, either about the on-ramp ID checkpoints or that.
By this logic, you can't put in a public park because you say Democrats are trying to provide free grilling locations for illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. That's true. It's just a fucking stupid way to put it.
Right. Yeah.
And there's also the thing hanging over this is we are spending a bunch of money providing healthcare to illegal immigrants because of Republican policies, specifically the ones they're beating the shit out of and hospitalizing while they're fucking trying to lock them up. They just spent about $400,000 on this guy named Bayron Marin in Carson, California. They raided a car wash and broke this guy's leg. All right. They won't say how bad, but he's been in the hospital since August 27th under armed guard. They've never obtained a warrant for this guy or even claimed that he's undocumented. He's just in the hospital for 7 weeks now, under guard, even though he's an American citizen because they broke his fucking leg. We're paying for his health care and the armed guards. They've got, according to a lawsuit filed by his lawyer, okay, they've hid this guy using fake names at the hospital. They questioned him without reading him his rights. They've restricted his access to lawyers. He even ordered though a judge has already ordered him to be released from custody. And according to the lawsuit, 2 to 4 uniformed guards, either Spectrum employees or ICE agents, have been continuously stationed in his hospital room, monitoring at all times, including while he sleeps, eats, uses the restroom, and receives medical care. This guy didn't commit a crime, or even as far as we know is here undocumented. They snapped his leg in two and have been watching him take a shit for fucking 7 weeks while we pay for it, while they cut our health benefits.
Yeah, but I mean, for what? Why do you just to give them something to do, or an intimidation tactic, or what? Because they know that whatever he could turn into another Abrego Garcia type situation or something, so they want to like keep him under lock and key, but also freak him out so that maybe that doesn't happen, but they could end up Streisanding it, you know.
If I had to guess, they thought he was an immigrant. They broke his fucking leg. They worried about getting sued. They need him to need to find something to accuse him of or convict him of, so they can make it look like he's a bad guy and they didn't fuck up.
Right.
And now 7 weeks later, they haven't done anything. But they you know, the whole thing when you're in a hole, you're supposed to dig up. Stupid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they forgot to dig up.
Right. So they've been operating under the pretense the whole time that he's a criminal who deserved it. And if that were true, they'd have to keep guards posted there all the time. So ergo, they have to keep guards posted there all the time because that's their, that's their assertion is that he's just a criminal, even though there's no proof of it or whatever.
Continue interrogating, questioning him, form of psychological torture, just like trying to be like, come on, man, confess, you got child porn, where's the drugs at? That kind of shit. So I do want to say about all this, J.D. Vance gave a White House press conference where he said this is he tried to blame like long ER wait times on the undocumented immigrants because the basic idea here, they're a whole class of people because they don't have health insurance or forced to use emergency rooms like primary care physicians.
Right. In which that happening obviously drives up wait times, and everything else, but also cost and shit for everybody, which is part of the reason why if we just had actual, universal health care, it would end up being cheaper for pretty much everyone in the long run at the end of the day. And there's a lot of reasons, but what you just said is one of them. Because that's what I meant earlier. You start having that conversation, you get to it's like, well, poor people, people that ain't got insurance, they're gonna go somewhere when they get hit by a fucking bus. Do you want their lives to be saved or not? Because if you're not okay with just letting them die, then this fucked up system is gonna.
It's not even the letting people die thing. It's because basically what happens is you get like an impacted tooth or whatever, or a bad cavity. You don't have insurance. You can't go to you can't go get antibiotics or can't go to a dentist. So what happens? It gets worse and worse and worse. You have a horrible fever. And you end up in the emergency room, and it costs way more. Right. So you could save ER wait times and healthcare spending by helping that person get insurance, but we're not going to do that. So, but also they can't go to the emergency room. But the process of kicking people off the Affordable Care Act, and Medicare is going to make this problem worse for the same reasons, for all the reasons we just outlined. They're taking steps to make the problem worse. But the main problem we talked to anybody that works in healthcare is long wait times are due to understaffing because of private equity cost cutting and the subsequently overworked nurses and doctors leaving because of private equity cost cutting. But have you heard anybody outside of like the very far left wing of the Democratic Congressional Caucus argue that we should be trying to rein in or ban private equity or stopping them from buy hospitals? No, I haven't. Are you going to raise billionaire taxes so no hospital even want to turn away someone who's bleeding out because they make money treating people? No. So instead, we end up with Democratic columns like this. I swear to God, this is an actual video tweeted out by the Democrats' official Twitter page.
Republican and Democrat kiddies cannot agree on what should be funded. Democrat kiddies want you to have health care. Republican kiddies do not. Republican kiddies control the Senate, House, and the White House, so they're using that to cut your health care. Right. Money to billionaires.
Is ISIS still recruiting, Trey? I swear to fucking God, man.
Dude, I know, man. God damn.
I will be personally relieved if they help me keep having affordable health care, right?
Right.
I don't understand why instead of trying to go the best case scenario they can imagine is going back to the status quo from what it was a week ago and not a better fucking future. End of that rant. On to the next one.
All right. Honorable mention. Next up. All of us for being terrorists and not even knowing it.
Much of ICE's workforce and resources have had to be reprioritized how much of the Joint Terrorism Task Force's resources have had to be reprioritized to fight these domestic terrorists? Do you have any idea how many resources are spent?
Dude, you keep
trying
calling
to
them
hunt down and
terrorists, but
track
isn't that
each and every-
hyperbolic to call them terrorists?
What is? If anything, I'm understating the severity of the situation.
All right.
What?
Is he talking about like Antifa again, or
Yeah.
or
He's talking about anybody that's like sees a guy in an ICE uniform is like, hey man, cut it out.
yeah,
That.
right.
So Trump was asked about Portland the other day, and he basically said the city's burning down, and the governor and mayor and all the senators and whatever from Oregon who are saying no, it's not, are all lying because they're afraid they'll be murdered if they admit the city's burning down. It would cost like $35 to set up a series of webcams all over Portland so you can watch a live feed of the amount of fucking nothing that's going on. I am continually baffled. This man has all the world's information at his fingertips. Like, I think everyone's made the joke that if we were president, the first thing we do would find out whether or not they're aliens, right? He's not even not interested in the aliens. He's not interested in like asking somebody what's happening in fucking Portland.
Right.
It's amazing to me.
Wasn't it on one of either a bonus episode or the last episode? There was a quote from him, or maybe you just sent it to the group chat. But
Nah, he was using the show. He's like, am I just confused by what I'm seeing on TV? Am I seeing something on TV that's not happening?
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
right. So I thought he was like starting to get there, at least about Portland specifically. You're saying he already forgot that thought had crossed his mind and is back okay.
Stephen Miller got in his ear. So I guess Stephen Miller. That was Stephen Miller. We just played a quote from. If you're just listening to the feed, if you don't recognize his fucking voice, which he's off-putting, right?
He's very off-putting, without a doubt. I was trying to think of how to describe it too, and I don't know. He's just like such a sniveling fucking like smarmy, just little shit. You know, he's got like a whole like sort of worm tongue thing going on, but like also fucking skull and bones tent and some incel shit, and fucking he's just not. He's very off-putting is a good way to put it. Yeah, you just look at him and you're like, this dude is. I don't care for this guy. This guy makes me uncomfortable.
Worm tongue, Goebbels, and Kermit the Frog, like all rolled into one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
If Trump did have a live feed going into Portland, here's what it would show him. Here's I think last night or night before. All right.
Yeah, that's that's also very stereotypical of Portland. That's
it's
an
inflatable,
really happening.
An inflatable frog rubbing his fake frog dick on an inflatable astronaut or something, like dancing together.
The guy. I can't remember what that character is actually called, but those guys are from Among Us, which is a very, very popular online multiplayer kids game. Like my son dressed up as one of those for Halloween a couple years ago. It was a cultural phenomenon for a while. But the other one though, American flag balloon man. I'm not just a generic balloon patriot.
So this is apparently like there was a leaked text exchange where somebody in the Trump administration was talking about sending the 82nd Airborne into Portland to combat that.
Right.
I just want to say, like, your mileage may vary on how much you find that stuff amusing or whether if it's in your neighborhood, you're probably annoyed by it. I just want to say, like, to me, living in a free country means you can wag your fake inflatable frog dick at a cop. There you go. That inflatable frog, he was back out there, even though a couple nights before he had been a cop. There's apparently a vent on the butthole where the thing that keeps it inflated blows air in so the guy can breathe.
Yes.
And the cop pepper sprayed the butthole vent.
I mean, quick thinking by the cop, I guess. I've seen videos. I don't know if that cop got the idea from TikTok or what, but I've seen TikTok videos where people take like fart spray or something like that, something rancid, like an old mayonnaise jar or whatever, and put it up to the butthole vent. And then watch this big inflatable character start spazzing out and choking and stuff because it stinks so bad, and that's always funny. But pepper spray, that's a little too fucked up.
Look, I honestly like the odd
assault.
Cop. Yeah, cops should not be brutalizing people, and tear gas and pepper spray are horrific. Like if the cops carried fart spray, I'd be like 15% more cool with this shit.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So the thing about this is, the stuff that the government says on the news and stuff the government says in court files is different. Like Trump, there's a bunch of ongoing lawsuits about like a federal judge who was a Trump appointee in his first administration said he cannot nationalize the Oregon National Guard to send to Portland to fight the frog. And so then he nationalized, like he's sending up California National Guard and Texas National Guard to invade Portland, and that's the current ongoing court case right now. But in the court case about Oregon, the first one about Oregon, I do want to know that judge did a follow-up hearing today was exasperated by, like, I told you can't send the National Guard into Portland, and you just went and got a different state's National Guard.
Right.
Like, this Calvin ball bullshit.
Right.
It's going to be like, well, technically you didn't say.
Yeah, you didn't
like,
say
okay.
that. You said the Oregon National Guard.
Yeah.
You'll notice that this is a totally different National Guard. So
yeah, it's worse. It's worse than in
me.
other states. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they according to the DOJ's own court filings, claiming that the Portland is a state of revolution and insurrection, they listed 4 episodes of threatening behavior by protesters. Those 4 incidents were a protester setting up a makeshift guillotine near an ICE facility, which is like, okay, like we do gallows and guillotines at protests in this country all the time. Mm-hmm. Another one was someone posting a photograph of an unmarked ICE vehicle online, took a picture of an ICE vehicle and posted it somewhere. The other 2 incidents involving flashlights being shown in the faces of agents driving vehicles. Mm. So those are the 4 incidents of insurrection happening. Is someone built an effigy of a guillotine. It took a vehicle of a car.
Which there very famously was at January 6th, by the way.
That was a gallows, but yeah.
Well, yeah, same difference for Mike Pence, right? Or well, I guess just all of them. It was, But anyway, yeah, like you said, that's the thing. I don't get the car one. They're doxing them by posting their car online or something. Or
be on the lookout for this car. Yeah, they just they took down a fucking the Apple Store acquiesced to a government demand. There was an ICE tracking app that people were downloading, and like, I get why the government doesn't want you posting the locations of cops, but also Apple and Google's own map functions let you report speed traps. Mm-hmm. So now people are just getting on their app. They're just reporting ICE locations as speed traps on Google Maps. So
nice.
So while they're trying to escalate in Portland, the people on the ground there are saying that there definitely has been like an escalation of brutality and the number of ICE agents and stuff without and this article made me laugh because it said without any clear signs of provocation, which is true to me. But to an ICE agent, being called fat and stupid probably feels like a provocation because you're supposed to be the cool one. Yeah. Sure. Like if you get this gay guy's calling me fat and stupid, you're saying I'm not being provoked. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you saw how upset they got when they got a sandwich thrown at them that time.
Yeah. So they're basically saying that like they used to just clear them out the driveway when they needed to take a vehicle in or out. And now they have a larger force firing more tear gas and pepper bullets and pushing them way out in the street, basically pushing them back like a block or 2 out into the neighborhood. Let me quote here: "If they just keep pushing us back and there's nowhere we could go." That's according to a woman who calls herself Rainbow. Last week we had Cloud Evan Grail. This week we have Rainbow, no last name. So yep. Portland, stay Portland. She says she's been there for months and it's definitely gotten worse. So hanging over all this is like because Portland has gone viral once again, and it's like it tends to because right wingers love to pick fights in Portland. A bunch of counter protesters have started showing up drunk and trying to start fights and starting fights with ICE protesters, and they keep getting arrested, which they think is part of a government conspiracy. Because only they're getting arrested because they're the ones drunk throwing bottles and hitting people. Mm-hmm. A conservative influencer, a new guy on the beat by the name of Nick Sorter, who's turned his career into trying to go viral on Twitter, writing stuff like "Breaking: Netflix has trans show" or something. He went up there and he got arrested because someone was trying to burn a flag, which is legal, and he tried to take the flag away from them and push up into the ground, which is illegal. And he's like thinks it's like unjust that he got arrested for assault.
Right.
So now, because Sartor has gone viral, all the other right-wing influencers showing up doing live streams trying to instigate shit so they can go viral.
Get their numbers up. Yeah.
I don't like all this stuff is just about making a TV show. Like let me quote here. According to Rainbow and the reporter who was watching the protest, the federal officers, since they're escalating, have been flanked by videographers toting professional equipment and wearing high-visibility vests. They filmed from behind the lines of officers, capturing the show of force. At least 2 drones swept over the scenes, camera drones. They're filming a music video. They apparently did the same thing in Chicago, where they did a Black Hawk raid on an apartment building.
Right. Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah.
Sounded pretty crazy. There's a building of mostly black people, and also they were, zip tying everybody, including all the kids and shit, many of whom were U.S. citizens and whatnot, and they rappelled down from helicopters in the middle of the night for what? Other than just they think that's awesome. That's definitely the reason why they did it. I don't care what they say.
To make a Dudes Rock music video that uses a recruitment ad.
Right, yeah. Exactly, yeah. Right.
They already put it out. I will admit, if I was like, the cinema quality is fucking pretty great. Mm-hmm. It does. It looks like a fucking action movie because it kind of like they cut it up to make these like goofy they admit the part where they're not in any actual danger, but 300 federal agents in the middle of the night raided this building. A lot of them came in through helicopters. They landed on the roof, descended through the building. According to News Nation, which got to ride along for the operation because of course they did. They were embedded. And like you said, they kicked people's doors in, everyone's doors, zip-tied everybody, dragged them out in the street, men, women, and children. Some of them, because of the middle of the night, were naked. Right. And then sorted them out outside the building, even running the people they knew were citizens, had no reason to suspect. This was Customs and Border Patrol did this. No reason to suspect they weren't citizens. They were just running federal warrants on people, running warrants, state federal warrants. The feds justified this by saying the building had Tren de Aragua in there. I haven't seen where they arrested anybody who was Tren de Aragua. Maybe somebody in there has a tattoo or something and sells a little weed. I don't fucking know. But let me quote here from a neighbor. Her name was Ebony Watson. Said they started ducking when they heard flashbangs. They didn't know what was happening because obviously you wouldn't. You're asleep and start hearing bangs and booms and people get your door in. According to Ebony, quote, they was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they was bringing the kids down too, had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. What is the morality? Where is the human? So one of them literally laughed. He was standing right there. He said, fuck them kids. They sorted them out. They put black people in one van and immigrants in another group of vans. They basically had a sorting hat for born suspects. Mm-hmm. Let me quote here from the commander at large for Border Patrol, a guy named Gregory Bovino. How about you live in the apartment next door to Tren de Aragua members that are trafficking, prostitution, drugs, and taking advantage of American citizens in a violent way?
Not taking advantage of American citizens in a violent way.
No.
That's super fucked up. Who would do something like that?
Yeah.
That's the reason we're justified in taking advantage of American citizens in a violent way is because we had reports that a gang was doing the same thing. But I don't know. Is their position that everybody in that building, all of whom got zip tied, including the 6-year-olds, is Tren de Aragua? It's just that's worth it. Got to break a few eggs to make a
In order to make these people safe, we had to kick down their doors in the middle of the night and zip tie their children.
Right. It's for their own good.
They left behind they destroyed these people's apartments, ransacked them. A lot of these people's shit was missing after they left. I don't know if ICE took it or somebody came in and took their stuff after the fuck. I mean, sorry, because the Border Patrol took it, or whether people came in and stole their stuff after Border Patrol broke all their locks. But they blew the doors off the hinges and walls and shit. And I feel like there's the cops really gotten so dumb they need to shred the Bill of Rights to outwit 5 teens selling weed, which is what Tren de Aragua is. By the way, reporters asked the people who live in the building about the Venezuelans who lived in the building, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they're cool. They're actually my favorite neighbors. They keep it cleaner than everybody else." Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. Hanging over all this, I want to make a case based upon circumstantial evidence to you, Trey.
All right.
The things ICE did, they after they got done, and the residents who wanted to go back in were allowed back in, the ones who weren't dragged off. They found a small moving crew that said they'd been hired to clear out the now vacant units. They were already in place a few hours later, and this is the overnight raid. This is the morning. This is the morning of October 1st, I want to mention, was an important thing hanging over this. The day rent's due. They found doors boarded up, zip ties and bloodstains on the floor next to baby shoes. Flies swarmed around open fridges. Now, this isn't that normal where they live because the building is owned by a slumlord. It's a Wisconsin-based investor by the name of Trinity Flood, according to public records. Flood's facing a $27 million foreclosure lawsuit for not making loan payments on the 3 South Shore properties she bought for $18 million in 2020. The city also filed suit in February against her Flood's company for over 15 building code violations at the South Shore Drive property that got raided. The building had failed its past 14 annual inspections for stuff like not having fire extinguishers. Here's a picture of how they left the apartment of a blind Army vet. All right. The next one is the next picture of an apartment that has serious water damage after whatever the fuck they did to the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
If I told you this series of facts, that an underwater slumlord who had no money to get up to code, she's no longer even trying to rent units. If you call the now renting number, someone tried to call it, it goes to her rental agent who says she got let go by by Flood's company 2 years ago. They forced out some of the tenants. Cops forced out some of the tenants. Some of the tenants don't want to go back because they're afraid of more fucking raids. And a bunch of the tenants say they're trying to move. They don't know where they're going to go. What would you assume happened here?
I don't know, some kind of insurance thing or something, or trying to get out from under this building, like trying to get it demolished so you could sell it to somebody else. And
I would say that Flood got very, very lucky here that her investment, which is rapidly failing, now she may be able to sell the building once it's empty after the few remaining tenants clear out, after someone called ICE just after everyone had fucking filed their rents for the one last month they're not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, they're just using ICE, all this. Isn't it amazing? We talked about this with Aurora last year. Every time some slumlord is underwater and about to go under, all of a sudden their apartment's infested with Tren de Aragua and the feds need to go in.
Right. Yeah, it's like the new, starting a kitchen fire overnight or that type of thing.
Yeah. I do want to say, elsewhere in Chicago, fucking ICE and Border Patrol keep making fake 911 calls to, harass the local cops. They've been tear gassing local cops, which, the idea that Chicago...
ICE is doing that to the local Chicago police? For why? The idea that that Chicago PD is super woke, if you know anything about their history of covering up the murders of their own citizens and fucking running off the books black site where they were torturing suspects. It's just they also, a thing hanging over all this is the fever swamp that Stephen Miller and Trump are living in. A bunch of federal DHS people are also living in. ICE in Chicago and Border Patrol seem to have been radicalized against the concept of traffic. They seem to think traffic is a conspiracy. There were 2 incidents recently, one where they shot a woman, where they claimed that a group of up to 10 cars tried to box in their vehicles. One of them, they clearly seemed to have been ran by 2 separate cars. They arrested 2 people. They claimed there were 10 vehicles. They arrested 2 people. These are very heavily armed federal agents travel around large groups. So let me just say I don't fucking believe them. Mm-hmm. You should not be hitting people with your car, obviously, right? But so another one I watched the video of, they claimed they were boxed in by 10 cars. It's not even clear from the video that the woman can tell they're ICE. It appears she's just having a road rage because they're stopped in front of her in an open highway, antagonizing her because she's Mexican or Hispanic. Right. And she rams her car. So they also dropped, when they've been sitting in traffic, I watched the video, they just dropped a tear gas bomb out of the car door and gave a 2-year-old an asthma attack because they think the traffic they're stopped in is an organized conspiracy to slow down their work. Which maybe it is. But it's also a big city with fucking traffic. Right. Well, anyway. I'll say it, again, just a version of if you've grown so paranoid that you're convinced that every, minor societal inconvenience is a conspiracy directly against you because people hate you and what you do so much, maybe chill out with what you do and the way you operate and everything else. If you think everyone who sees you wants to fuck you over because they think that you're a fascist, that would make me feel bad about myself. And instead of just being fuck all these idiots.
Right. It'd be what if me, the guy with the Austin rickshaw, the ponytail guy on the skateboard being pulled by his dog I talked about at the beginning of the show?
Yep.
If I thought that guy was attacking me because I work for ICE and he's Antifa, as opposed to just being some guy who's fucking having a shit day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yep. Full circle, everybody. How about that? It all comes back to the ponytailed Austin rickshaw man at the end of the day. Thank you guys for watching. Again, real quick, go to TreyCrowder.com. Check out my upcoming tour dates. Come and see me on the road. We're having fun out there in spite of everything going on in the world around us. And while you're there, watch Trash Daddy if you haven't seen it already, or watch it again. That'd be cool, too. Check out Producer Matt's audio exclusive, Good Skews. If you want a palate cleanser, that's on the podcast version of the show. And if you want to support this here, the main show, you can do so on Patreon for $5 a month, weeklyskews.com/more, or go to Patreon and search for my name. 2 full-length bonus episodes every month, including roughly quarterly a 2-part Q&A. But if you keep watching the main show on Skews days, we'll keep showing up and talking out our asses, I reckon. That's what we do here. Why do? Mark talks smart stuff, but you know me. Anyway, love yous. See you next time. Bye.
Skew.